guitar, blazing, embracing all walks of life. Battle oppression and bullies, his weapons trumped in life. A true friend forever, no matter what the weather. He'll never let you down, no matter how much pressure. The quest to make life better with every song. Throughout the galaxy, here to help us get along. He's to the madness. He's so fantastic. He'll save the day. To the madness. He's so fantastic. Listen to him. He'll save the day.
All right, my guest this evening needs really no introduction because he's been here before, and I've talked to him a couple of times at the New York Comic Con. And for the interview, I have my water bottle with my
Love it.
Punk Taco.
Awesome.
It's decal. So let me go ahead and bring him in. How's it, Adam? How's it going? I mean, I think the last time we talked was back in 2020 when you were part of the New York Comic Con roundtable.
Yeah, it's been a while. It goes by so quick. It doesn't feel like that long ago, like 2 years or so. But yeah, that was probably it.
So, how have you been, and what have you been up to?
Good. I forget. I guess 2020 we would have talked. So we would have Punk Taco. The first printing had sold out. And we had won a Ringo Award for Best Kids Comic. I think we talked about that probably. And since then, I've just been working on Punk Taco 2, as well as just family life, through a pandemic and everything. And that slowed down production a lot. The book was supposed to be out by now. But the great news is it is at the printer. So I just gave the final approval today. We went through 3 rounds of approvals. I kept finding some mistakes here and there on my part, and it was a lot of anxiety. When you're independent and you're putting out a book and you're investing your money into it, and you're spending all your time and energy on this, making a mistake there's a lot of anxiety that goes with it. Whereas, you pick up I could pick up a Marvel or DC book on any day, and I can find a mistake, like a typo or a spelling error. But people are going to keep buying Batman books. People are going to keep buying Spider-Man books. They don't care if there's a mistake. But when you're independent, if you have a mistake, people are like, oh, well, there's a mistake in your book. You're not a professional, and then
Right.
they dismiss you as an amateur. So, I was trying to get it as perfect as possible, even though I always tell young artists and other people, other creative, like, don't worry about perfection, right? I try to hammer that home, because if you always worry about perfection, you never get anything done, and you'll never finish your project. And so here we are, a couple of years into Punk Taco 2, and I'm stressing commas and spacing and word balloons, and I'm like, I gotta let this book go. I found all the major mistakes I can find. My editors, I had my wife and 2 other editors that I hire look at the book, and we did the best we can. And so now it's at the printer, and hopefully nobody gives me grief if they find a typo or anything. Sorry, I got new glasses, so I'm trying to adjust them to my face properly. But yeah, so Punk Taco 2's at the printer. I can show you a little bit. Let's see, these are the blue lines and the proofs, and here's the cover of Punk Taco 2. With the back and everything. This is, the printer sends us these for approval for the colors, and then they send us, I have to read through all these, blue lines and find all the mistakes, and you can see my yellow Post-it notes. But it is at the printer, and it will be here late July, early August is what they're telling me. As long as there's no shipping problems from China or anything like that. And then I'll immediately start shipping them out to the original backers on Kickstarter, as well as everybody that's pre-ordered them, as well as everybody that's pre-ordered them since. And now we have a new Kickstarter, because what happened was thank you to people like you and everyone else that pre-ordered. We sold out of the initial print run that I ordered. So while it's at the printer, I was like, I have a little bit of time. I can actually have them print more if we can raise enough money. So that's what the new Kickstarter is for. Is, you know, we had initial print run of 1,000. I'm hoping to increase it to 2,500. So I can. So going back to New York Comic Con will be worthwhile, because it stinks when you go to a convention and you don't have a new book. It's great that it sold out, you know, of the initial print run order. And then on top of that, for the people, you know, that have Punk Taco 1 and 2, we produced a coloring book. So,
Nice.
you know, this is actually just a test copy. The new one's going to be a lot thicker, have a lot more artwork, have a lot more original pages. I'm trying to find the camera here. So there's going to be a lot of original artwork, a lot of artwork from the book that kids and, you know, adult artists can color and have fun with. So that's just a little something extra for people who have everything else and who have been great supporters from the beginning, as well as we have what else we got? Some cool new sticker sheets for people. Ooh, there we go.
Yep.
We're excited about that. So we're off to a slow start on Kickstarter. So I really appreciate your help, and anybody that listens to the show. If you want to support the Kickstarter, you know, you can get original artwork as well. Actually, I'm doing a promotion that if we get the Kickstarter funded by this Wednesday, which is a long shot, I will give everybody an original piece of artwork. I will do a 6x9 original commission for everybody that pledges $25 or more. So,
Oh wow.
You know, just something extra to say thank you to everybody that supports.
No, but let's you know, I mean, we'll talk more about the Kickstarter here in a second, but let's take a step back. And I think we went over this before, but can you kind of, you know, refresh our memory about, you know, you had the first comic book you read and how you got into comics? And
Sure.
Well, I'll just pile another question onto this same one. Is what made you want to, you know, start making your own?
Great questions. I've been reading comics for as long as I could remember. I believe my first comics was a Spider-Man comic. I forget the issue number. It was the one with Spider-Man and J. Jonah Jameson. I think they both have, like, they're handcuffed together with some type of explosive device. I forget the number. But that was one of the first ones I had, and I've been a Spider-Man collector ever since. It's like one of the few books that I still collect, mostly out of nostalgia, because sometimes I read it and it's not really for me. I don't know, like, I feel like I'm not always happy with the book, but I still get it. I do enjoy it from time to time. And then I also collect Ninja Turtles, which is another book that I started collecting very early on when it first came out. So I've been a fan of that ever since. And actually this run, unlike other things where, like, you know, as you get older or newer things, when you're older, newer things aren't always your favorites. I think the new run of Ninja Turtles by IDW is the best. Like, I think it just keeps getting better and better. So that's one what's different. Whereas Spider-Man, I still prefer the older comics, but that's probably because I'm older and I have a bit of nostalgia connected to that style of artwork and those types of stories. So I always drew, I always wrote stories, and I always enjoyed doing it. And, you know, after high school, I went to art school, and I went to Pratt Institute in New York. And while I was there, I got an internship at Marvel Comics, which was like in my second year of college. And I worked there throughout, you know, those last 2 years and a year after. I started out as an intern, and shortly after I was hired as a colorist. But I was still interning at the same time as I was coloring. And then whenever editors would go on vacation or get sick, I was actually like a per diem editor. I would fill in for editors and do all the work that they did. So that was a great experience as far as learning the trade, learning the ins and outs of not just the creative process, but, you know, working with printers and working with the distributors and everything else. So from there, you know, at that time in history, Marvel was going through a lot of, you know, bad times. That was like the bankruptcy era. We called it Marvolution. So a lot of people that I knew and became friends with and was close with, the editors that were giving me work, all got fired or laid off. So it was kind of a, you know, a dark time. And I decided at that point that I wanted to publish my own books. I was shopping stuff around, people weren't biting. So I decided, to do it myself. And I started a company called American Mule Entertainment. And we started putting out black and white comics, kind of like the comics that I grew up with Ninja Turtles and all the black and white comics of the early 80s. And just had a lot of fun with it. And a lot of it was humor oriented. Eventually, we started publishing colored comics in color because we'd go to conventions and people would say, "Oh, this is a great looking book, but I wish it was in color." So then we started printing books in color, and people would be like, "Oh, this is a beautiful looking book. But I wish it was an image book." And you're like, "Wow, I can't win. Like nothing makes you happy." So, but luckily we were having fun making comics. I was working with different collaborators, and sometimes I would draw the books and write them. Sometimes I would just write them. Sometimes I would just draw them. That I did that for many years, all the way up until I did the official Public Enemy comic book series with Chuck D and Public Enemy. They're collaborating with them, and that was those were the last American Mule books. And then I took some time off, and I started AWE, Adam Wallenta Entertainment. I kept it simple. And another reason is that because when you're in the Diamond catalog, it's always better to be in the front of the book. So I was like, oh, I gotta have an A name for my company. So I was like, I'll just follow Walt Disney and just do Adam Wallenta. So we went in that route, and I had taken some time off, as I mentioned, because being an independent comic book creator is exhausting. And then my wife and I had children, and as my
that's exhausting too.
That is exhausting too. And I was a full-time stay-at-home dad. My wife's a scientist, so she does far more important work than I do. So better that I stay home. And so what happened was I was hanging out with my son Makana, who's now my oldest, and we came up with the idea for Punk Taco together, and it got me back into publishing, self-publishing. I was going to shop the project around, but as you know, kids grow up really quick. So we were having so much fun creating together that I wanted to capture that moment in time. I knew that if I shot Punk Taco around for a long, it could take a long time. It could take 2 years before the book ever saw print, and and then he would be older and may lose interest. I wanted to seize that moment and jump right into it. So we started publishing ourselves again, and it took off and did really well. What was the second part of the question? I
think you pretty much
that covered it.
Encapsulated my rapid fire questions.
Well, I've been doing it a long time. I love publishing. I love doing independent comics. It has gotten more tiring over the years and more I feel like it's gotten more difficult because more people there's more people doing it. One. So you're competing with super talented people all over the place. And then on top of that, I think that it's still difficult because the avenues of distribution are different. So like originally I had distributed with Diamond Comics for 20 years almost, all my books. And when I went to them with Punk Taco, they rejected it. It was my best product. So, it's like, you've seen it, obviously. It's a beautiful hardcover, right? We really spent a lot of money and time to make it the best book we can. Oh, it's behind me as well. And then so to get rejected was crushing because I had already sent the book to the printer and I estimated what we normally sell through Diamond. And it wasn't until, a year later after we won the Ringo Award and the Kids Comics Award that Diamond was like, oh, okay, well, we'll distribute your book.
You're worthy now.
Yeah, we're worthy now. Even though 20 years of always being on time, always delivering on time. So, but because they've kind of shifted away from independent, like they just didn't care about developing new companies or worrying about, our sales. And so the crazy thing was that after, we did that, then the pandemic hit and Diamond went silent. For like up to 6 months, like we had no idea what was going on, and that was hard. So now we didn't have any distribution with Diamond. I had reprinted the book, so I had another 2,000 copies coming, and I had no distributor. and so it's harder now to get into bookstores. It's harder to get into comic stores. Being a small press publisher, very few people want to give you the chance or the time of day. So, we do what we can. But now Punk Taco 2 is coming out. Diamond is supposed to carry it to comic book stores. But the funny thing is, Diamond Books, which handles libraries and bookstores, they rejected it. And their excuse was, well, we want you to have a larger catalog of books. And I told them, well, how can I grow as a company and a publisher if I don't have distribution to libraries? Because I have librarians telling me they won't buy my book personally from me because they have all kinds of ways that they have to do things, which I understand. So we put it on Amazon. Amazon has the book. That's a whole other story. Amazon, I mail the books to Amazon. I have to pay for shipping. The libraries can order the book from Amazon. They get free shipping. But lately, here's what's been happening. Diamond has been refusing to take they place an order. Say they order 4 books to, Stockton, California distribution center. I mail them those books. I have to pay regular shipping fees. The post office has started to send me back my packages, demanding that I pay them for the return delivery because Diamond will not accept packages from the post office. They want me to send it UPS or FedEx. Do you know how much UPS and FedEx costs?
Yeah.
Amazon has already taken 60% off of the cover price. So now they want me to pay. So it's crazy, B.
Yeah.
So trust me when I say, like, for the independent publishers out there, the people that want to do it, follow your dreams, definitely do it. But it is, if you can get an agent and get a real publisher, try that first. Because now the mistake is that when I try to reach out to other publishers and say, oh, we've got this award-winning graphic novel. We've got, thousands of fans. It's test marketed. Basically, we've done all the test marketing, right? Like, we've sold a lot of books, but we haven't sold Dogman number books, right? I don't know if you're familiar with Dogman.
Oh, yeah.
Sold millions of copies, hundreds of thousands of copies of the older, like, the report just came out. I think they're on like book 12 of Dogman or something like that. So the latest book came out and it sold like 1 million copies or something like that. The oldest book, book 1, even sold like 150,000 copies this past year. And it's been out for like 10 years. So every year it still sells, right? So so here's what the publishers and the agents tell me. They say, oh, your book is already published. Nobody wants a book that's already published. I'm like, I've sold a lot of books for an independent, but I haven't sold Dogman. That means that there's an audience out there that can still buy Punk Taco, right? There's still millions of kids, hundreds of thousands of new readers every year that are introduced to books that can still buy Punk Taco. But they tell me, but because I've already self-published, it's basically like saying I'm damaged goods, right? Even though basically it's test marketed because we won an award for best kids comic. So like why? Right. And not only that, but it like other books have been republished. Like Bone started out as a self-published book and was republished. Owly, I forget what else. A bunch of books. So, and I'm not claiming to be as good as a Bone. I mean, Bone is like that's on a whole other level.
Yeah.
But to say like you can't republish a self-published book, I don't know. It seems weird. But I say all that to say we are independent. We appreciate everybody's support that rocks with us. Like yourself. And yeah.
So, how did you created Punk Taco with your son? How did that the character come to be? And tell us a little bit about Punk Taco and this the story so far.
Yeah, for those that don't know, that haven't watched me on here before, Punk Taco is a intergalactic space taco who rocks out with his band across the universe. They spread peace and love through their music, but along the way, they're always getting into trouble, having to battle evil bullies and try to help people in need, or beings all over the galaxy in need. It's really a story at the heart. It's a story about friendship and empathy and compassion, and trying to do the right thing against impossible odds. It meant a lot to me because I wanted to do something that was, that kids can read, but also adults can read. So the original idea came from, I had the name in my head, Punk Taco, and I didn't know what it was, or it actually came from hanging out with my nephews like 10, 12 years ago, even longer. And then when I mentioned it to my son, we were just hanging out. I was in the middle of producing another graphic novel that I was going to shop around, and that's still on the shelf. It's 200 pages because Punk Taco is taking up all of our time. So immediately when I mentioned the name Punk Taco to my son, he was 5 years old at the time. He thought it was funny. He started to come up with ideas for a space taco that goes on all these different adventures. And basically, the concept is kind of like an Incredible Hulk TV series, right? Like they're traveling around, they're touring the galaxy, performing, but everywhere they go, there's always a bully, and there's always someone that can use a helping hand, trying to through life, and can use some compassion and help. So Punk Taco is he's a peaceful character, but he's also kind of mischievous and can't stay out of trouble. Like if somebody is in need, he has to get involved, and then his friends try to like rein him in a little bit, but he's always eager to help anyone that wants help, and do the right thing. So we started developing characters. My son started doing sketches, and then I would take his sketches and refine them. And then the story started to develop. He was just shooting off like all kinds of characters and adventures that they could go on. And I was recording them and writing them down. And, I knew as a seasoned self-publisher that I could, it costs money to make a book. I was like, well, this is a great idea. I want to do this. Again, like I go back to saying, like, my son was 5. They're only young ones. If I'm going to spend time making independent comic books and graphic novels, I want to share that time with my son, because it could be very isolating. You could be locked up in your studio, not seeing your family, being miserable, working on something in an isolated bubble. But at least with this, I can brainstorm with my kid and have fun and laugh and be silly, and didn't have to take it too seriously. It's a space taco, right? So, and I thought, oh, this is cool because, I hadn't done all ages books before. Most of the things I had done were for teenagers and up. So I wanted to do something that would appeal to my son's friends, but we wanted to write it in a way, and this is probably definitely my influence. I read all the old stuff to my kids. Like we read like the Fantastic Four omnibuses and Spider-Man, and as an older comic book collector, like comic books back in the day when we were kids had a lot of words. Right, they were very verbose, and Stan Lee's writing was, Roy Thomas. There was word bubbles galore, right? I like that type of comic book. Like, I still enjoy comics with words. I love the artwork. Obviously, I'm an illustrator, but I enjoy the written word. And so we wanted to find a balance where, something along those old school lines, but that kids will still enjoy. And we wanted to write it in a way that for the kids who didn't know all of the vocabulary, if their parents are reading it to them, the parents are going to enjoy it. And as the kids get older and their reading skills develop, they go back and they read it, and they can enjoy it again, and maybe pick up on some of the the little things that we put in there for the older audience. And that's another reason why we made it a hardcover, because we didn't want it to be a floppy that you put in a bag, you put in a box, and you forget about it. We wanted it to be something that looks good on a library bookshelf and will last, and kids can, read it and damage, it won't get damaged so easily. And so that was really our goal, was to create a true all ages books, which was another mistake as a self-publisher, because what we've learned over the years, or in recent years, where graphic novels have become more popular with younger readers, is the big publishers like to break everything down into groups. This is the 5 to 8 market. This is the 8 to 12 market. This is the 12 to 15 market. And so when people come to me, they say, well, and I'm from the comic book market where it's either all ages or it's, you know, it's more mature. And so I tell them, I'm like, well, it's all ages. Like literally, we have fans who are 5 years old that read Punk Taco. We have fans that are 50 years old that read Punk Taco and enjoy it. You know, it may not be something that like they think they would enjoy, but you know, they get a kick out of it. They laugh, they smile, you know, and that's the point. So I do a lot of uh, author illustrator visits with schools around the country, and a lot of them are in the, you know, the second to fifth grade range. But I've visited with high schools. I've had high school teachers tell me that they use it to teach like compassion and empathy and inclusion in their classrooms. Um, so it really, you know, we feel like we've reached our or met our goal to create a book that was for all ages.
Hmm.
And you know, but again, like I call it a mistake because you know, the publishers will be like, whoa, what age bracket is it for?
Okay.
And then it's hard to explain the concept of all ages to them because they want you to be in one specific category. And I feel like we've done something a little bit different. But you've read it, you know.
Yeah. So, can you kind of give a summary of what the first volume is and kind of, you know, where it picks up for the second volume, and you know, without giving anything away, what readers can expect?
Yeah, in the first volume, we don't really do like an origin or anything. We start off Punk Taco. You know, we see that he's in a band, and they're rocking out, and it very simple. He makes a new friend who is in trouble. There's like an intergalactic war going on, and a young being, alien, if you want to call him that, gets displaced from his family, and we're kind of like, you know, we take a little bit from reality and we put it into this kid's book format. Um, so he's displaced from his family, he's lost, he's scared, and he meets Punk Taco, who he thinks is food, and he wants to eat him. But then they quickly, you know, they communicate, and we emphasize that, you know, Punk Taco always tries to work things out before he goes into battle mode, and he makes a new friend, and then he tells his friend that he's going to help him, you know, find his family, and from there the adventure, you know, goes, you know, gets started. And at the end of the book, you know, Punk Taco are back on the road or out in the galaxy, you know, and they think that they're going to have another peaceful, you know, journey to their next gig, and a giant wormhole opens and an arm reaches through and grabs them, and that opens up to book two. So book one ends; it's a complete story. Then we have the epilogue where that happens, just to kind of, you know, tease that we were planning on doing something else. And as I said earlier, when my son and I were first creating Punk Taco, he was rattling off all kinds of ideas. And I'll go back to that real quick because as a self publisher, I knew that I couldn't produce a 200-page graphic novel without knowing if it would sell. So we had to cut out a lot of ideas that he had, which made it into the second volume, which is almost twice the size of the original. So that picks up where book two is, and they're on a whole new adventure. And this one kind of takes the inspiration of kind of like a mix of the Lorax and Horton Hears a Who, where they make some new friends who are very, very, very tiny, and they live on a world, and there's a really giant alien who doesn't even acknowledge their existence. So they need Punk Taco and his voice, his powerful singing voice, and his magic Evo Kaha box that he acquired in the first volume, to help them kind of try to communicate with this other being who is basically destroying their planet. He's basically it's mining their planet and destroying everything, and because they're so small, he doesn't even know that there's this whole civilization underneath him that he's destroying. And that's the basic premise of book two.
And so, kind of getting back to the Kickstarter, what are you offering, as incentive levels for contributors?
I kept it pretty simple because I know, book two is taking a long time to fulfill. So I wanted to try to reach new people who haven't gotten Punk Taco 1, Punk Taco 2. Then we have, the sticker sheets. We have original artwork. And then we have the coloring book, which is all the artwork is done. That's just a matter of me uploading it to the printer, and then they'll print up the copies. And yeah, so that's basically the rewards. The original artwork being the most unique thing, and the stickers, which I are easy enough to order. I have a ton, and I'm always ordering and designing new stickers. I wanted to keep it simple. One, because as a Kickstarter fan, when I get rewards from other people, a lot of it, I hate to say, ends up being junk. not that the quality is junk, but like as a 48-year-old, I don't need like a lot of the stuff that they offer. I don't have room for it, or it just doesn't appeal to me. And then the more stuff that I produce, it costs more to ship as well, because I need bigger envelopes or bigger packaging. So I wanted to keep it simple for everybody. I figure if we could reach new fans that don't have Punk Taco 1, people that didn't support Punk Taco 2 originally, and then if you just want to get a piece of artwork from me, you can just get that. So there's different levels, different types of artwork, color artwork, black and white artwork, and more detailed pieces. Like if you want to get a commission of like your favorite superheroes, I do that as well, which I don't do often because I usually don't have time to draw other people's characters. So yeah, we wanted to keep it simple.
Well, I know besides the comic book stuff, you and your kids also have a YouTube station, right?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, little kids, big kids. Yep. And here,
Yeah.
everybody, this is a first guest appearance, Makana.
Hi, how's it going?
I don't think. Well, he can't hear you, but yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I'd have to take off the headphones. But anyways, he wanted to come by and say hi.
Yeah. Hi. So.
So yeah. Yes, we have our YouTube channel, which we've been neglecting, but also not neglecting. So we do. For a while there, we were doing almost daily drawing videos as well as toy reviews. That started to slow down once school responsibilities picked up. But we are working on, we've been doing a lot of new drawing videos. I haven't edited them yet. I'm kind of like collecting them so we can get back into a regular schedule. And then we're doing something special that you'll kind of be like you will be the, if you want the exclusive, you will either hate me or not care and appreciate what we're doing. So I know it's a very divisive subject, but we had an idea as we try to understand the world of NFTs, and I personally don't understand a lot of it.
Yeah.
But I also refuse to dismiss it, because as an artist who works very hard to sell my art and prove to people that it has value, it's very difficult. And there's a lot of crappy NFTs. I look at them and I know that there's a lot of scam type, cut and paste type artwork, but there's also some really beautiful stuff. And so I don't dismiss it, because I know that it's just another way for artists to get their work out there, or it could be if it's done properly. And I'm also, you may know, I'm also a musician. So I've been recording music for 30 years, longer. And I come from the vinyl, tape, and then the CD era. And so when MP3s came out, I was like, what is this? Right? Digital music? Are you kidding me? Like, where are the liner notes? Where's the beautiful album artwork? Right? But you have to evolve. People like digital music. People like streaming. So I see all kinds of people, bad mouthing NFTs, but these are the same people on Spotify streaming music, and us as musicians get a fraction of a penny, right? So there are people who value artwork and music, and then there are people who don't. So to me, if an artist can find a way to create an NFT in some format and find a collector who is willing to pay them money for it, hey man, I can't knock that, right? Yeah. Like, as long as it's honest and the artwork is theirs and they worked on it, if they want to sell it in that format and it puts food on their table and it feeds their family, yo, like, I'm not gonna unfollow somebody or, you know, unfriend them because they believe in this new format. Because
Yeah.
for all I know, you know, we're entering a very digital crypto world that I don't necessarily understand as a 48-year-old, but I have to, as an independent creator, I have to kind of try to figure out some things and navigate it the same way I had to figure out MP3s and streaming and PDFs. People want to download and read comic books on an iPad. Yo, to me, that still doesn't make sense. Like, I need that physical paper and the smell of books, right? But
Yeah.
some people like reading on a Kindle. I'm not gonna produce punk taco PDFs because I don't get it. I'm gonna lose money because I don't agree with it. Like, no.
Yeah. No,
So
I understand.
I say all that because I do know that I have people that internet friends who I've seen say things like NFTs are horrible, they're bad for the environment. Meanwhile, we're on our computers 24/7. We're buying new iPhones all the time that people have to mine for, you know, minerals. You know, there's all kinds of things that are bad for the environment.
Yeah.
And we're all guilty of it. You know, eating meat is bad for the environment if you want to get detailed about it, right? I mean, like, so again, and you know, the NFT people are trying to figure out the environmental issue as well, just as other people are trying to do that. You know, uh,
Definitely.
but again, I say that because it hurts me to think that, you know, so Makana and his brother and I are creating these NFTs, or we're creating artwork. We're creating physical artwork that we are going to also turn into NFTs, and we are also filming the entire process. So you
Okay.
get to see everything is done basically freestyle. We come up with an idea while we're filming it, and we draw, and everything is Punk Taco related, by the way, for now. So we're doing these Punk Taco NFTs, and they're all original. And anybody that collects them doesn't just get the digital NFT; they get the original artwork
Oh,
from all three of us. So you get the 6-year-old, you get the 10-year-old, and you get the 48-year-old. It's a collection. So each one has a theme, and we do that together. We film the process. The person who collects the NFT will also get the video, the unedited video of the process of us talking, of us coming up with the ideas, of us arguing as we try to figure things out, the mistakes, everything. So
right.
you don't just get a digital file. You get the digital file, you get the original artwork, and you get a video of the experience. And that's something new, as far as I know, that
Oh,
nobody else
that is
is doing.
the idea. Yeah.
So we
And
wanted it to be not just like, oh, we scan in the artwork and we put it up online and you buy the NFT. We wanted it to make it something like you get a family experience of me sharing my time with my kids doing something that we love to do and we have fun doing, and you get to collect it as a digital file if that's your thing, and you also get the original art. So we haven't
no,
told anybody about it. You're the first person. You've been a big supporter. I figured I'll let the cat out of the bag, and then we'll see how many people unfollow me on social media because of, oh, Adam's doing
well,
NFTs now. I'm like, yo,
well,
I want to feed my family and send my kids
yeah.
to a good school, and
Well, no, I
so
like the idea of, not only doing the NFT, but getting the original artwork and stuff like that. That's
right.
an extra added, would
And,
make
and
it worth it.
originally when we talked about it, we thought because we would be able to hopefully sell more, we do 3 at a time. But then I was like, you know what? It's not about selling more, it's about selling the experience and quality. So one collection includes all 3 pieces. So that way if you frame it and you could see, how we each tackle this theme that we go with. Because otherwise, people may buy like my 6-year-olds or my 10-year-olds, and then they're all separate. And then we have to, like, each person, three different people get the video. We wanted just one person to make it like a real collectible, have
Yeah.
that one unedited version. And then I'm like, me, I babble. So so I say that because we're gonna have an edited version of those videos where we speed up the process, and we're gonna put that on the YouTube channel as well, so people can see it. that don't collect the NFTs, because the videos are like an hour to 2 hours long sometimes of,
Yeah.
of us creating. Nobody wants to watch that on YouTube. That's too long. Um, Especially when sometimes we're not even talking. We get so involved in the artwork, we're all coloring
Hmm.
and drawing, and then I'm like, oh, we're supposed to be talking to to people right now. But we're having so much fun, and the kids get so involved in their artwork that it gets real quiet. So we're gonna do a time lapse, sped up version that everybody could see us do these videos, and we're also gonna do our drawing videos, and hopefully we'll start doing some more toy reviews and other things. The kids want to make their own little movies, and we put all that up on our YouTube channel.
Well, I've noticed that, I remember when you guys were, going for 1,000, subscribers, and now it's just like grown.
Yeah, we don't have that many still, and I would like more because
More than mine.
but yeah, it's hard. It's real hard, man. I mean, anybody that has over like 50 subscribers. I mean, I had to hustle to reach 1,000.
Yeah.
And then it's only like at 1,036 or so, and then you'll know when you lose one or two, and you're like, oh no. And then of course YouTube is always reminding you, like, there's no way in hell you're going to monetize it unless you have like 4,000 hours of viewership a
Yeah,
year.
something like that.
And
Yeah.
like we don't even have close to that. So but we do it for fun, and we do it for experience, because I get to practice my video editing skills, and I get to teach the kids a new skill, and practice things. And we've made like Lego movies and stuff like that we put up on there, and they enjoy that stuff. So it's really just an experience, and ultimately it's an excuse to hang out and do something creative with my kids.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's really what it comes down to. It's because I'm not making a living off of that at all. It's, let's do something creative together. Let's film it so maybe somebody wants to watch it or somebody gets inspired, and that's that.
So really quick, because I know we're gone a little long, but are you planning on getting back out onto the convention scene this year? Or are you still kind of giving it some thought and all that?
I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready to go back out. I signed up for Baltimore, not Baltimore. What did I sign? I was accepted to Small Press Expo.
Mm-hmm.
I hope to go to Baltimore. I love the Baltimore show. I'd like to go back to New York Comic Con. I think that's the one I forget. I filled out some forms, and yeah, I filled out New York Comic Con, but they won't. I don't know when they're going to let everybody know if we're admitted, as well as Emerald City, which also runs. My wife's over there. I see her. And I was hoping to do some around here in California, but I think I missed the deadlines for all of them, and I don't think I can anyways, because Punk Taco 2 got pushed back until late July, early August. So I want to have the new book before I really do any shows. So I'd love to do like Terrificon and New York Comic Con, and then Baltimore is in October, I think. So the book will definitely be out by then.
Well, if you ever make it back,
what about you? Are you going to do?
I don't know. I can't do Baltimore this year because they didn't contact me and scheduled it the same weekend as my wife's birthday.
Oh, how dare they?
And
your wife doesn't want to go to Baltimore Comic Con for her birthday?
And then, I applied for my press for New York. So that's that, and other financial, questions will, along with, the whole COVID situation will dictate what I do.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how, I've talked to other friends who are doing conventions, and like how they take sales without anybody touching your phone. So I'm still trying to figure out all the technology and what I need to get for taking, for people buying things with minimal contact. I would still wear a mask, only because, like I have no problem wearing masks. It doesn't bother me at all. And if I could, people used to get con crud before the pandemic. So, anything to avoid getting a cold or the flu or any type of illness. Like I'm all for it.
Well, if since the book is not going to be done till later this summer, I was going to, see if you would be interested in. I'm part of the planning for one of the library's Comic Cons, and you'd be perfect. But if you're not, the book's not going to be ready.
What month is that?
July.
Oh yeah.
Next year.
Yeah, definitely next year. Is that
maybe
for a
you'll
panel?
be back.
Is that for a panel in New York?
No, this is one of the local libraries puts on
okay.
their own Comic Con, and
Oh wow, that would be awesome.
Yeah, and maybe
because really like that when we created Punk Taco, our desire was to be in more libraries, and I think we only hit like 1% of the libraries in the not even 1%. There's so many that don't have Punk Taco, and it's sad because we feel like it's a great book for library. We were rejected by our own local library because and this is no lie. They told us you either have to be reviewed nationally by the Library Association of America or the American Library Association, which not everybody gets reviewed by them, or you have to have like national reviews, which we do have, from various people and publications, or you have to be published by a real publisher. So and I offered to give them a free copy, by the way. And so they sent me, I had to fill out a whole request form. They sent it back saying, sorry, you're not a real publisher. I'm like, I'm a Ringo Award winning publisher. I've been acknowledged by my peers, at some of the highest levels, but because I'm not Scholastic or Random House, they wouldn't even. I'm like, I'm a local author.
Yeah.
So, but when libraries do support us, we really appreciate it. Like, we love librarians. We go to the library all the time. We love that they have these huge graphic novel markets. So anytime we get to be at a library, it's an awesome experience, and we love the support. So,
well, if you ever make it back, if maybe next year, or if you make it back to the East Coast, so
I would love that. Yeah, just keep me informed.
Oh yeah, I will keep your name as a yeah.
And any library tell them to get Punk Taco. They can still get it on Amazon.
Yeah. So as we wrap up here, how about give us one more pitch for the Kickstarter and anything else that you want people to know about? Where can they find you on social media, all that good stuff?
Yeah, I'm real easy to find on social media. Adam Wallenta, without the space, whether it's Twitter or Facebook or Instagram. From there you'll get bombarded with a lot of self-promotion, which I apologize for, but as Chad knows, I also try to interact with people. If you're social on social media, I interact with as many people as I can while I'm self-promoting. Punk Taco is an all ages graphic novel. It's great for kids. It's great for grown-ups. The Kickstarter, if you follow me on any social media, you'll be able to find the link. The links are kind of funny, or you can go to Kickstarter and type in Punk Taco.
And I'll include it with this.
Awesome. Thank you. We've got Volume 1, copies of Volume 1, the second printing. Volume 2, if we get funded, we'll have copies. And then you can get original artwork. You can get stickers, stuff like that. And we really appreciate all the support. It's a slow campaign so far. We're trying to raise only $6,000. I think we're at like $1,200 or something like right now. But Punk Taco 2 is guaranteed to come, so you don't have to worry about it. It's at the printer. You don't have to wait years like Chad has to get his copy. the original.
Good things come to those who wait.
Yeah, well, we didn't expect to have to move 3,000 miles across country when I started the original Kickstarter. My plan was to just work on Punk Taco, not move across country. And then who knew we'd live in a pandemic? That was science fiction. So strange times, strange circumstances, and I think I've done an okay job communicating with everybody that we were going to be late. Hopefully I didn't piss off any supporters and lose any friends or fans.
Disregard that email I sent you.
Where's my Punk Taco book? So,
But I, it's always a pleasure to catch up with you, and we'll have to do this again. Maybe if I have a roundtable on NFTs, then I'd be glad to have.
There you go. Yeah, and if you make New York Comic Con and I'm there, I'd love to see you in person.
Oh, definitely.
If you do something online again and we just talk about New York Comic Con not being there, we could do that. Whatever. I'm always down to hang out and talk.
Right.
I live in a bubble consisting of my wife, a 10-year-old, and a 6-year-old. So it's talking with comic book people. That's why I babble a lot.
Yeah, that's okay. Always good to babble. But best of luck on the Kickstarter, and
thank you, appreciate it, man.
We'll be out there, trying to drum up some support for you, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, you have a good evening, and we'll be in touch.
All right. Good night. Bye, everybody.